talking about the collapse and what's it holding on to, where there's really nothing there to, it's just kind of there floating free, and where's it going to go and all that. But even floating free is a misnomer too, because it's not really floating on sort of like a level surface, a horizon there. There's no horizon there. The horizon's gone. That's everything's gone, except for you have two different aspects. You have the, you know, the Ne and the Om, or the two opposites are sort of perceived as being there. Well, that's, as we mentioned in the past video, that this is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a good thing, because 19, with regard to man, is for the regeneration of man. Because you have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 8, which is regeneration, which can be seen in the EOI up above in the subjective row. This is not necessarily to sustain the good. No, this is not to sustain the good that's in man. That comes actually with number 20. Because 12, and then the 12th pulse of man, or excuse me, the 9th pulse of man is number 20. And so that's where the sustaining of the good, that's with man, comes in. But just sustaining the life, that's with man. That's what number 19 is all about. Sustaining that which Jehovah desires to be sustained. It's not all bad, so to speak, as we might think, because if we look at it, 19 is 9, is the 1. 9 is sustaining of the good that comes out of the foundation, that comes out of the 1. The 9 that comes out of the 1. The sustaining of the good that's in the foundation. That's what 19 is about. And so we can understand with a collapse, whether an 18 and how it's going to go with the people. If they're an 18 and they're going to go to 19, what's going to happen? Because we can understand what 19 is and what 18 is, and where they are, where the people are in relationship to that, in relationship to all these other things. So, and what is 19 moving toward? Well, it's moving toward a foundation, for one thing, because we can add 1 plus 9 is 10, so that right there tells you completion, which also, but that can also be reduced to 1. So whether that was a simple way of just saying that we're dividing it by the good, the sustaining of the good. How many where is man at, or where is this at in this number 19 at with regard to sustaining of the good? Okay, well, a couple words of review here. Well, an explanation, a little bit more depth, and the first thing that we want to talk about is Oahspe. And one thing that I forgot to mention was that because Oahspe is moving, S is moving toward a convergence, and Oahspe filters out and integrates everything toward that, and there's stuff that will get left out, for which reason it's known as the living mathematics. And because it determines proportionality and relationships according to how things flow in behind it in its wake. Well, the second thing was to correct a misstatement of mine by saying that number 19 was the crossed serpents as the symbol, which actually the crossed bones are the symbol. And in my own mind, though, I tend to think of 19 as the crossed serpents. And well, the crossed bones, meaning among other things, it means death. You know, you just have the bones and the crossed bones, and things move toward death. And of course, that was a lower meaning, a meaning that early man could understand, comprehend easily. But the serpents are a symbol of corporea, and not only that, but they have an element capable of destroying themselves. And so that, to me, that's more of an accurate depiction of 19, at least in my own mind, because there's not just the evil, bad stuff, which was what early man was able to understand, but there's also the regeneration of man, of humankind, of a social order, or whatever it is that we're looking at, involved in 19. Because recall that 12 to 19 is the eighth pulse of man. By the way, another thing that 19 is not only does it recreate or regenerate humanity, but it also sustains the good that's in Druk. Because 11 to 19, it's the ninth pulse of 11, of Druk, of the lower foundation, of the replication of the foundation, which is what 11 is the replication of the foundation. And so the sustaining of the good that's in that is what 19 does. And so while it may go down to bare bones, when in the collapse of the social order, it also there's also life there, so it's not all dead. Bones are kind of represent death and all that, but it's not all death. And actually, if you look at number 85, which we won't talk about here right now, other than to mention that it's the Hisse, it is the it's essentially a person with the crossed snakes coming through the belly, and represents, among other things, the lawyer. And but you can see this same cross thing. It's in the same column as Say is, and in the same column that Say is in, we also find X or X number 41 as well, which is also a component of this eighth column from the first column. And sorry about that, you know, the misrepresenting the glyph there, which is actually the bones, but it can be the snakes. You can use snakes to represent that as well. And so those were the addendums that we wanted to add to this particular series.